Here's a little update on the Kawasaki. Got my parts in today. There's my new water pump gasket, new mechanical seal, and the little oil seal that rides behind it. So what I did, probably not the way people on YouTube are going to say you should do it, but that's the way I did it. That is your old mechanical seal cartridge. It's the retainer ring. So I got behind, flipped that over, used my little blocks of wood here to kind of keep it cribbed up so it wasn't hitting anything. Watch out for this face, you don't want to ding it up. But took my screwdriver from the back side and tapped around until I got the seal body loosened up, popped it out of there. Then I came up on the front side with that same flathead screwdriver and just pounded in a small spot around the edge, being careful not to mar up that aluminum housing. And once you get a little bit of the edge rolled in, it releases some of that tension. You can flip it back over and knock it out with a screwdriver and a hammer. So now that I got that out, there's a little oil seal that rides in there. And I think it's going to pop out pretty easy. I had a little bit of it started, and then I was like, oh, this would be a good video. But what I do, sometimes you can put a screw in them, like on a dirt bike if you're trying to get the shifter shaft seal out, or even on like an automatic transmission, you can do the same thing. Run a screw in it, just like a little self-tapper. And then as long as you can get it up high enough, you could get under it and pry it up and out. But like I said, this one looks like it's going to come out easy enough, so get on. Oh, yep. Had it out more than I thought. So yeah, there's the oil seal. Bearing still looks good. I'm not going to drive it out. It doesn't feel bad. It's actually pretty clean in there. It's a little bit of gunk. Oil seal orientation. The lip goes towards the bearing. You can see that open side there where the spring is. That's towards the bearing. And then I'll tap the mechanical seal in on top of that. So there you go. That's how she works. Get this baby back together here pretty quick. So this is probably a thing worth noting. If you buy one of these water pump kits, comes with your new mechanical seal, make sure you get the one with all three seals. Mine only has the two right here, and it doesn't have this little oil seal that goes behind the water pump seal. So this ceramic face with the little rubber around it goes in the back of the impeller. That's right here. So I'll fish that baby out with a pick. Try not to break the ceramic. I'll clean this all up. You don't want to try and drive that in. You just kind of want to push it in by hand, trying to keep even pressure around it because you can't crack that ceramic. And then you're screwed. You'll have to get another one. This mechanical seal part, you just, once you put the oil seal in, remember orientation, the open lip goes down towards the bearing. So this is obviously the outside of the case where your water pump housing and impeller go. When it's all together, it'll look something like that. So yeah, I'll get this seal replaced and get this cleaned up, and then I'll order that seal right here, this little guy. I may have to order a whole new kit that has that seal in it. I don't know if I can buy it separately, but that's what you got. Make sure you get all three seals in your kit. Good luck. Here we go with the new seal. I just pulled the old one out with my little pick. Kind of got it in along the outside edge and got it to start up, and it comes out pretty easy. I will say there's a bunch of junk packed in behind it, so take your time. Make sure you clean the old impeller out. And then your new seal should go in dry without too much trouble. I'm using gloves so I don't get any residual oil or dirt stuck into the face of this thing. You want to keep it as clean as possible. That's it. Just presses right in by hand. Don't need to tap it or smack on it with anything, because like I said, you will crack that ceramic and then it's toast. But yeah, you just want to make sure it's evenly pressed in there. And that's it. Now when I get my oil seal, I'll drive it in there using a socket that's the right size. And I'll do the same thing on the mechanical seal, and we'll be ready to put her back together.
Okay, so
this thing has been an absolute pain in my butt for the last 2 weeks, trying to get the right parts here. Ordered a kit, didn't have the right part, ordered a seal, got the wrong one. So, finally have the right part. It is a 920491228. You may or may not be able to read that, but that's the part number right there. 920491228. That's this bad boy right here. Here's the old one. Now, some guys out there say that this seal goes in with the spring out towards the water pump. That's incorrect. On some of the older model bikes, four-wheelers, you have two seals that are rubber that are like face to face. The inside seal always has the open side towards the crankcase because you're sealing oil in the crankcase. Now, some of them use a bigger seal like this in place of the mechanical seal, which is right here. It's a whole different setup. But when you have the dual rubber seals, the inside one open to the crankcase, sealing the oil in. The outside seal, which would be this bigger one, seals water out of the crankcase, so the open side goes towards the water pump. Now, when you have the mechanical seal version, like we do in this particular 2012 750, you have the oil seal that goes open side towards the crankcase. It gets driven in first. Then you have the mechanical seal that sits outside facing the water pump, and it's a multi-piece deal. This is the cartridge that gets pressed in to that housing right there, and then your ceramic mates up against that, and that does 99.9% of your sealing to keep antifreeze from going into the crankcase. And that's the purpose of the weep hole in the pump housing. So if you get water in this cavity right here, get antifreeze past that mechanical seal, you get dripping out of the weep hole, which comes out that little bottle, and that's why you get the leak. And if you don't fix it, eventually you'll get antifreeze in the crankcase. So that's the whole point of the mechanical seal versus the dual rubber seal. The mechanical seal is much better, does a lot better job of sealing. So we are going to press this bad boy in. A couple of tips: get your oil seal, just a little bit of oil, just put some on the outside and some around the shaft before it presses in, help you not tear it up. And these press in pretty easy. They don't take much force at all. One other thing, before you do this, you want to clean that old like mating surface where the seal rides. I used just a little bit of Scotch-Brite when I had the side cover off, just cleaned it up. You don't have to get real crazy with it. Don't sand on it. You don't need, 180 grit sandpaper. I just took some fine Scotch-Brite and cleaned it up. That's all it takes. Just gently start the seal. You don't want to tear that lip. Just like that. And I am using a 14mm socket. It's just the right size, outside diameter. It fits over the shaft cleanly. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't take a lot of force. Just tap tap it in. You kind of hear that tone change a little bit whenever it fully seats. Yep, looks good. Grab a flashlight real quick. Perfect. Only took 2 weeks to get that damn seal. Okay, next thing. The reason I'm putting gloves on is you don't want to touch either side of that mechanical seal with your hands. You don't want oil on it. You don't want grease on it. What you do want to put on it is either water or antifreeze, and that's it. So, if you got oil on your fingers, make sure you get all the residue off. A little bit of antifreeze. I'm kind of using this antifreeze as more of a rinse on my fingers than anything. Some people say that's not necessary. Put oil on them before. Yeah, maybe. I don't want to do it again. So. Okay. Mechanical seal time. Obviously, it only goes in one way. 1-inch socket. Fits perfect. Again, these don't take a ton of force to drive in, but you want to make sure you use the right socket. And you want to make sure it starts square. Because if you break that face, you're screwed. Again, same process. Drive it in until it's fully seated. Looks good. Couple extras, kind of hear the mallet sound change a little bit. Looks good to me. Fly you up here so you can see a little better. So what you're looking at is that edge right there. That's flat all the way around. Looks good. Put you back where you were. So now we will put this bad boy on. And I want to say this thing called for 61 inch-pounds of torque. What I do that much Loctite, basically nothing. You just have to be careful not to get it on the face of that seal. That's it. Done. That easy. Once I get that Loctite kind of ran down those threads, I'll put just a little bit of antifreeze on this ceramic side. This is another seal that presses in the back side of your impeller. You want to make sure it's run down flat and even. Just be sure to press it in there good. And now it's got a nice little coat of antifreeze on it. I'll spin her on. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. There you go. It's on there. So now I'll get my little torque wrench, get a little socket, run her down 60, like 61 or 67 inch-pounds. I'll have to look at the book. But yeah, that's it. Then I'll throw the cover on. I'll get the hose hooked back up, and then I'm ready to refill it with oil and antifreeze. One other little thing I did to make filling antifreeze easier on these, pulled the box off that goes right here, the little toolbox or whatever you want to call it, this little bad boy. Pulled it off, and if you knock a hole in your plastics right there, it gives you good access to the cap. You can see my hand under there. It's on the cap right now. And you can drop a hose through there, put your funnel up, and you can refill your antifreeze. It's a lot easier than trying to pump it in or use a little bottle and get it in there. So there you go. Next video, this baby will be back up and running. If it wasn't for all the trouble getting parts, this thing probably wouldn't have taken the better part of 2.5 weeks. But sounds a lot better now.